Silver is back in the spotlight, and this time it feels different. Welcome back to MacroEdge, where we track the biggest moves in gold, silver, and global markets so you stay one step ahead. Just this week, silver surged past $47.50 an ounce intraday, marking its highest level in more than a decade. Traders across Wall Street, London, and Asia are whispering the same thing. $50 silver isn't a question of if anymore. It's a question of when. Gold Silver HQ even posted on X that $50 silver this week looks like a very real possibility. But the big question everyone is asking themselves is this: should you still be buying right now, or is it already too late? Let's dive deep. This rally is unfolding against a backdrop of serious economic turmoil. Wall Street just suffered its worst week since the 1987 crash. The Dow is crumbling, the S&P has lost more than 43% from its peak, and trillions of dollars in wealth have been erased in a matter of weeks. Tech stocks once thought invincible are collapsing, retirement funds are being gutted, and the word recession is back in the headlines with a vengeance. When that happens, investors don't cling to speculative stocks, they don't gamble on meme names, and they don't put their faith in shaky banks. They flee to safety. And for thousands of years, safety has meant gold and silver. Today, silver sits firmly above $47 an ounce, up more than 2% just on the day. Gold is doing even better, smashing through its all-time high at $3,843 an ounce, up $75 in a single session. Think about that. Gold is hitting new highs almost daily, and silver is racing behind it. The US dollar is the key here. The dollar index has just broken below the critical 100 level for the first time in years, and that breakdown is pouring gasoline on the fire for precious metals. Every tick lower in the dollar sends shockwaves through global markets, and those waves are lifting silver higher. To understand where silver might go next, you need to know where it has been. Silver has only come close to $50 twice in modern history. The first was back in January 1980, during the famous Hunt brothers squeeze. The Hunts tried to corner the silver market, buying massive amounts of physical silver and futures contracts. Prices skyrocketed, but regulators intervened, the market collapsed, and silver's spike was short-lived. On January 18, 1980, silver closed at $49.45, with an intraday high of $49.95. That was as close as it got. The second time was April 2011. The world was still reeling from the global financial crisis. The Federal Reserve had launched unprecedented rounds of quantitative easing, flooding the system with liquidity, and investors were looking for hard assets. Silver ran up to $48.58 on the close, with an intraday high of $49.50. Once again, it kissed 50 but never broke through. In both cases, silver's surge was violent but short-lived. The lesson is clear. Silver can move explosively, but sustaining new highs requires deep, structural support. Futures markets show a slightly different story. On the COMEX, silver futures briefly touched $50.35. On the Chicago Board of Trade, intraday highs spiked as far as $52.50. But that was futures, not physical spot silver. For the actual metal in your hand, the all-time high remains $49.45. That is the number to watch. But here's another critical lens: the annual average. In 1980, silver's average price was only $19.48, even though it spiked near 50. In 2011, the annual average was $35.56. Today, in 2025, the annual average so far is $35.48, almost identical to 2011. That means if silver simply stays above $40 for the rest of the year, we'll set a brand new record annual average. That would mark the strongest sustained silver market in modern history. So, can we break through 50 this week? Josh Philip Farr, CEO of Scottsdale Mint, doesn't think resistance is all that strong anymore. Once silver blew past 40, he said, the market entered runaway mode. His range for resistance is 48 to 52. Beyond that, very little stands in the way. His words: unless there's a massive market shock forcing panic selling, silver is basically in free mode. Nobody knows how high it could climb, and long-term, he sees triple-digit silver as inevitable, not a pipe dream, just math. He emphasized that this is not going to be an overnight explosion and crash. This is a journey. Silver is volatile. You will see 10% drops, 15% spikes. But the direction of travel is clear. He compared it to baseball. Right now we're in the third inning, maybe the fourth. That means we've barely started the game. There's a lot of room left to play. And here's the kicker: inflation-adjusted highs. Everyone talks about silver's old high near 50, but inflation changes the story. If you adjust the 1980 peak using official CPI numbers, silver's inflation-adjusted all-time high isn't 50. It's $146.91. If you adjust the 2011 high, it's $70.15. And that's using official CPI, which many argue understates real inflation. If you use alternative measures, silver's inflation-adjusted highs would be even higher. So at 47, silver is not expensive. It's cheap. Now compare silver's story to gold's. Before COVID, gold's record was around 1900. That record stood for years. Then, in 2020, gold broke out. Since then, it hasn't just nudged higher, it has doubled, climbing to nearly 3,800 today. Silver has always lagged gold. It drags its feet at first, then explodes higher, often overshooting. If silver follows gold's path, breaking the old high near 50 is only the beginning. Over the next 5 years, silver could double or even triple, putting it firmly into triple digits. So, is it too late to buy? Absolutely not. Look at the gold-silver ratio. It's currently sitting at 81. My rule of thumb is simple. When the ratio is above 80, silver is the better buy. Between 60 and 80, I like both. Below 60, I prefer gold. Right now, the ratio says silver is the clear winner. But beyond ratios, let's talk fundamentals. Central banks have been on a gold buying spree for 3 years straight, reducing their dependence on the US dollar. BRICS nations are openly shifting reserves away from treasuries and into hard assets. That's a structural move, not a short-term trade. And when gold demand spikes, silver follows. Think of silver as gold with a turbo engine. It lags at first, then it takes off. Industrial demand is the other half of the equation. Silver isn't just a monetary metal, it's essential. It powers solar panels. It runs through electric vehicle batteries. It's in your phone, your computer, your 5G towers, your medical devices. The AI revolution and the green energy transition are both silver-intensive. And here's the catch: mining supply is flat. Ore grades are declining, new discoveries are rare, and production costs are rising. The supply crunch will make every spike sharper and every rally harder to stop. Meanwhile, America's fiscal reality is collapsing. Debt has surged past $37 trillion. The government is borrowing more than $1 trillion every quarter just to pay the bills. Foreign buyers are pulling back from treasuries. Japan, China, even traditional allies are quietly selling down their holdings. That leaves the Fed to step in, adding liquidity and eroding confidence in the dollar. The US dollar index breaking below 100 is not just a technical level, it's a signal that global trust in the dollar is cracking, and every crack pushes precious metals higher. So here's the truth: silver at $47 is not expensive. It's a bargain compared to its inflation-adjusted highs. It's undervalued relative to gold, it's ignored by Wall Street and ridiculed by mainstream media. But it's the one asset with the potential to double or triple as this financial cycle plays out. The fundamentals, the math, and the momentum all point higher. The real question is not whether silver will touch 50. It's what happens after. Will it stall, or will it blast into uncharted territory? Now I'll put the question to you. Are you ready for triple-digit silver? Are you positioned for the day when headlines scream, "Silver breaks $100," and the crowd rushes in too late? Or will you sit on the sidelines and watch history unfold without you? Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your time and support. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that subscribe button and join us here at MacroEdge so you never miss the next update. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think silver will smash through $50 this week, or will resistance hold the line for now? Let's get the conversation started.